Are we live?
Big button that says go live.
Are we live now?
We should be any second now.
Nice. Hey everyone. Great to see so many here.
For sure, we're definitely live. Welcome to the stream, everybody.
We have people from Sweden, Norway, New York, Canada. It's amazing.
Hello world, hello world. Lazar, welcome. Dipinash, welcome. So right now, how many people are in the stream right now? 53 viewers right now. Welcome everybody. This is awesome.
Amazing.
So we're just going to give it a couple of minutes just to let a few more people get a chance to join the stream. In the meantime, say hello in the chat. It's so nice to have you here. If you have any questions or anything like that, this would be a great time to ask as well, since we have a few minutes. But yeah, welcome again. Good morning, Will from North Carolina.
And we have Bob Zerol, our beloved teacher, in the chat. It's very nice. Nice to have you here, Bob.
Nice to see you, Bob. Good evening, Sammy.
We are very good. The Punch is asking. Very good. We're excited about this. Very first, hopefully first of many Scrimba live streams.
100%. Hello from Lyon. So we've got a very broad audience here with us today, which I think is awesome. Just one small testament to the diversity of the Scrimba community. I like it.
Yeah, and we have the Kenya. Nice. Antonio from Kenya. And we had Madagascar, I saw earlier, and India. So that's all over the world.
Wicked. Max Programming says that Scrimba is a very nice platform built with a lot of hard work. I couldn't agree more.
Yes, we started this back in late 2016. So we're almost now at next month, we're at our 4-year anniversary.
Amazing. We'll have to do another live stream to celebrate, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
There's currently 67 people in the stream right now.
Yes. So give it a minute more or something and then get going.
Just another, I think we'll start 5 minutes past the hour, so give it another 60 seconds.
Nice.
Greetings from Belgium, Egypt. Welcome everybody. I think it's almost time to kick off the first Scrimba live session. Welcome everybody, it's so great to have you here. We're going to start off by running through the agenda, just to give you a little bit of an idea about what to expect. Of course, we'll be going through the challenge solution and announcing the winners. We have a lot more planned for you as well. So, welcome to the stream, of course. I'm sure everybody recognizes you, the face of Scrimba, in my opinion. But in any case, would you mind taking us through the schedule about what to expect?
Yes,
today?
Of course. But first, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the Scrimba audience as well, because you are a new face here.
That is true. That is true. So my name is Alex Booker, or Booker Codes on Twitter. I am a developer turned developer evangelist. So I've had a lot of different jobs in the programming industry over the years. And so hopefully I can give you a bit of perspective about coding, learning to code, as well as maybe getting a job as a developer, because actually my first job was as a developer evangelist. I thought I was going to be a programmer. I went into developer relations. So yeah, we can definitely talk a little bit about that.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you all.
Well, then I will share my screen and just quickly jump into the agenda for the day.
Awesome.
You see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So today we have basically 5 things that we're going to go through. We're going to start off with a live poll where all of you are to decide what Scrimba course we should produce next. So it'll be a poll. We'll kick it off very soon, and then we'll have it going throughout this live stream, and we'll declare a winner at the end. Moving on from that, we're going to show a little success story from the community, because what we've been seeing lately is that more and more people are actually getting jobs after completing the career path or in the middle of a career path. So we're going to bring up a story which hopefully will inspire you and also give you some tips so how you can follow her footsteps. We're of course going to solve the weekly web dev challenge, and after that declare 3 winners, or 1 winner and 2 runner-ups. And then finally, at the very end, we are going to launch a Scrimba course that all of you in the stream will get early access to, and just something for you all to do during the weekend.
That'd be a great way to kick off the weekend. Maybe watching Netflix instead. I don't know. But really
yes.
motivated so you can watch a course.
Definitely code instead of watching Netflix. That's no one that separates you from 99% of other people if you actually do that. So that gives you a head start.
True. Very true. So yeah, we're going to kick off by looking at some upcoming ideas for courses. You're all going to be invited. We're going to send a link to a straw poll in the chat, where if you click the link, you can vote on what you would like the next Scrimba course to be. And so if you look in the chat right now, we'll share a link to the live poll. And what's cool about this, and what I think you're going to enjoy, is as you vote, we should be able to see the results come in real time and see who maybe is getting ahead. We'll watch it live for maybe a minute or two. I want to ask you, Per, I'm really curious about what hypermodern JavaScript is. In any case, we'll come back around full circle towards the end of the stream to see who won. So you can vote now or later. It's cool.
Yeah, so hypermodern JavaScript, that is a good question what that is. Only I think very few people know exactly that. But I found this really good article actually about ES 2020, which is like the technical name of it, ECMAScript 2020. And it has a bunch of interesting features, more or less interesting. And this Free Code Camp article lists it out really well, like dynamic import, knowledge coalescing, like probably doesn't make sense for a lot of people. But this one right here, optional chaining, where you, if property 1 exists, then head over and fetch out property 2. That's a really neat thing, which actually the Imba language, which Scrimba is built in, has support for. I've been using that a lot. So I'm particularly excited about this number 4 here. But I don't think I will jump on the ES 2020 to begin with until it's like supported by all browsers. But it's
yeah, well, that's the thing. I think ES 2020 is a while away from having first-class support. But it's inevitable. In a year or two, we'll all be using these features when we write JavaScript. I think maybe a Scrimba course would be a great way to get ahead of the curve and start learning about these things early. So maybe let's have a look at the poll results and see what people are doing.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it looks like the unit testing is leading.
Awesome. Wow.
That's 16 votes. It's cool to see it change.
Hey.
So totally, unit testing has been something.
Now you've pitched it. Now you've explained it. Look at hypermodern JavaScript is catching up.
It's catching up. Yeah.
Look at that. You filled the hype.
This one is interesting as well, like the guide to becoming a front-end developer, which like we will touch upon these points later on in the stream. But there's so much interesting things to be said there about how you approach becoming a front-end developer today, as opposed to how you did it 5 years ago or only 6 months ago before the coronavirus. There's
True. Yeah. The landscape's changing every few months at this rate.
Yeah. Seems like the unit testing is like taking a clear lead.
I think that's interesting because like unit testing is one of those things that we all know we should learn and we know there's an upside to it. But when you're learning and you're working on your own projects, it almost feels like a distraction. It's so hard to see the benefit of those tasks.
Yeah.
But the second you start working in a team and you start collaborating, these tasks become a godsend, frankly. They become such a useful way to make sure, firstly, when you implement a feature, it works, but crucially, regression testing, which is when you add new features, you want to make sure all the old unit tests still pass and you haven't accidentally broken something in a big system.
Yeah, and when you code, it's like your code will touch things you can't even imagine that it affects. It's like second order effects of introducing a new feature. So that's where testing comes in.
Unit tests can give you a lot of confidence in those cases.
Yeah,
that looks about like half the vote. What I think is that we could probably move on now, but we will come back to this poll later. If maybe you can't click it because you're maybe on a mobile device or watching on your TV, using a smart TV where you can't necessarily click the links, you'll have another chance to vote a bit later on and we'll come back to that. But next, I think it's time to celebrate someone from the Scrimba community.
Yes, because we got some great news this week from one of our users, actually one of the first people who signed up for the front-end developer career path and who was super active from day one. It's Osea, the woman you can see here. She got hired in an amazing company called DevBridge. And what's funny is, or not funny, it was amazing, is that 6 months ago, she didn't even know if she would be able to become a developer. And then last week, she started working with a company that serves Fortune 500 clients. So that is just amazing. Yeah. So
I think we can give Osea like a round of applause in the chat. Like, can we give her some clapping emojis and like tell her congratulations? Because I think that's just incredible.
Yes, do that. That's so cool to see that this is happening. And so she gone through the path, and as I said, we saw instantly that Osea was super active in the study group she was assigned to. So whenever someone else needed help, she jumped in and helped them and gave them contributed with her JavaScript knowledge. I think any team would like a team player like that just lifts the whole team. So that's a way to kind of the study groups are a way to practice how you can be a very useful team member.
100%, that's huge. And so you worked with Osea, you've spoken to her since she got her job. How did Osea go from learning to code? Okay, she's confident now, she knows how to code. How did she go from there to getting her first job? What does that process look like?
Yeah, that was interesting because she was in the situation where she didn't have any experience or a grand portfolio. She'd been working super hard to learn these things. But then she started working with getting to know tech people in her local community. So she actually, through a course she took, through a teacher, and through a friend of a friend of a friend, she got 2 entries into this company. And she asked a friend of a friend to grab a coffee with her because he works at that company. He or she works at that company. And I think that's so amazing. Like actually sticking your neck out there, contacting someone and kind of buying a coffee to them and kind of asking for advice on how to approach that company. That just shows such a good spirit, and that was enough to get them to kind of recommend the company to speak with her, and it was enough to get her a job.
You know what that highlights to me is that when people think about getting a job, they often think about creating a resume and then applying via a form, essentially. Might be on LinkedIn, might be on AngelList, Stack Overflow, Careers, it could be somewhere else. But when you do that, it's very, very hard, even with the best portfolio, to stand out from the crowd. When you actually go above and beyond and you start to try and find ways to connect with people at the company, prove to them that you're a team player like Osea is, I think that often leads to the best results. And so I think that was a fantastic strategy on her behalf.
Totally. And it's interesting because I know that you also are like internet educated developer, Alex.
Internet educated, you could say that, yeah.
So how did you go about doing it?
Well, I mean, I learned to code watching YouTube videos, which is one reason I love Scrimba, because Scrimba versus YouTube is night and day. But, you know, it's difficult when you're first starting out. You don't have a lot of work experience to brag about. You might not even have many projects you can demonstrate. So my strategy was to go to GitHub and find open source projects to contribute to. And this to me was actually fantastic because when I would try and contribute to GitHub repositories, the kind of interactions I experienced when I submitted pull requests or, you know, debated and discussed features and issues mirrored the same exact type of interactions I could expect in the workplace when I'm looking for a job. And so that made me feel a lot more confident, firstly, but it definitely helped train me up a little bit. So I was able to participate in those kind of conversations and follow the right kind of process when submitting changes to a code base. There's great repositories, by the way, like upforgrabs.net. Maybe we can post a link in the chat. That's a place where maintainers of GitHub repositories, they identify issues that are great for first-time contributors. And normally when they submit to those types of indexes, like first-time contributors or up for grabs, they do it expecting to help you contribute for the first time. So they'll be on your side advocating for you to make your first pull request. It can be a life changer. I met a few people through a repository that I contributed to, where they invited me to come down to London and interview for a job. I couldn't actually do it because I was living so far from London, but it just goes to show there are those inroads. And then, yeah, the other thing I did, which I think this is not the best strategy, take this with a pinch of salt, but I kind of associated having a high Stack Overflow reputation as meaning I was a better developer or something. That's not always the case, okay? But it definitely didn't hurt to participate in the community.
I think it's so good that you got a job interview by contributing on a project, not meeting anyone face to face. Osea actually connected with someone, of course, with solid skills. You both had that, but connected with someone over coffee, and just speaks to the fact that there are many ways to this, and you don't have to go to a event and hand out business cards to be networking. You can do small things that suit you and your personality and your interests and what you're comfortable with.
It's like I say, like if you're 5 foot tall, maybe don't try and become a pro basketball player. You're kind of going against the tide. Try and find the things you enjoy doing. Try and find the things that you're naturally good at, mostly because you're naturally interested in them. Because to become a master, to become really good at something, there's no way around it. You just have to do it a lot. And if you're going to do something a lot, sustainably, consistently, you really have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you're going to burn out and it won't be fun for you. I don't know why you would do that. When you find, and it could be that you've already decided you love programming, but maybe front end is your passion, maybe front end design, maybe it's back end engineering. You always want to try and find that area that really appeals to you, because that's how you get ahead, doing something you love and you can enjoy. And clearly, Osea found that. I think if she managed to propel in just 6 months, that's impressive.
Totally. All right, should we move on?
Absolutely. Congratulations again to Osea. What do you reckon? Should we look at the solution to the live coding challenge?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's code it together.
So for you guys watching, what we're going to do is we're going to open the challenge just like it was presented to you in that first email. And we're going to work through the challenge together, solving it and explaining how we think about things. And we'll try and introduce you to some new interesting concepts along the way.
Yeah. Is the font size all right? Maybe we want to crank it up a little bit here.
Maybe up a notch.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean Per's going to do all the coding. And I'm going to, he's doing the hard part. I'm just going to watch and talk.
All right. So the challenge was pretty basic, just improving this form, which we created because it's a very common thing you have to do when working as a developer, like working with forms. It's all over the place. And this obviously looks crappy, and as if it was created in 1995. So it's a good starting point. It can only go upward from here. So, but solving this, I think, or approaching this, I think it actually makes sense to, instead of directly jumping to like what fonts you should use, what colors, how you should position it, I think it makes sense to take a step back and decide for yourself, like, what actually do I want this newsletter to be about? Because that can like make life easier for you and reply or give answers to a lot of your questions. So let's, for example, like one thing I think is cool is like fast cars. That's fun. It would be fun to create a newsletter for fast cars. So yeah, like Ferraris, for example. So with that in mind, we can kind of like get to work and think, okay, would it say join the newsletter if this is a Ferrari dealership? No, I don't think so. I think if this are to be a Ferrari dealership, we need to update the copy and do kind of make it feel like it's has to do with Ferrari. So stay up to speed, for example, like that. And also like instead of submit email, we do some vroom submit email like that. Very random, but anyway. Like that. So, okay, now we have some copy. We have a subject. And that's a good starting point. So, two obvious problems is that this is too crammed to the left-hand side and they're too crammed together, these elements. That's obvious. Like we want to center this, or we could do it on aligning it to the left to right, but I think centering it makes sense. And since it's this form right here, let's just turn the form into a flexbox. that makes sense. If you don't know how to do that, it's just very simple. Display flex. Automatically, it turns it into a row-based layout. We want a column-based layout, so we'll do flex direction column, like that. Looks awful still, but we need to center it, and we'll do that by the align items property, and simply center like that. Okay, so a little bit better. However, it's still crammed together, so we need to basically give it some white space. So we can do this, for example, the input. We can do this in many ways. We could do it with flexbox itself and position them out with justify content. But I think for the sake of simplicity, let's just add a simple margin to the input field, and 10 pixels, for example, like that. A little bit better.
Looks good. Well, cleaner.
Yeah,
a little bit ways to go, but it's a good start.
Good start, yeah, right direction. I think we should have a bit more space in between the title and the form itself. So like doing 20 pixels and 10 pixels below, like separating it a little bit. And also let's not hard code the width of an input. Let's just keep with the standard width. Now, there's some things there. I don't know, what do you think about these borders and stuff, Alex? Do you like these?
Well, you mean which border are you talking about? The default one or the one when you click on the inputs?
I'm talking about the default one, but also the one when you click on it is also a bit annoying in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think we can definitely improve the default text input here, maybe with a different color border or a border radius or something like that. What I would be careful about, and I would extend this to anybody watching the stream as well, is that kind of blue rectangle you see when you give the input focus, like it doesn't look the best and it probably doesn't match your design, but it's actually there for a really important reason. Like it's very important for accessibility that the blue outline exists. And you can change the color, by the way. It's possible to change the color, but you should always make sure that when the input is selected, you do put a border around it for accessibility and honestly, just general user experience. So if we're going to change it, we should be mindful of that, or leave it the same. You know, maybe it's okay not to diverge too much from what the browser does by default in this case. Yeah,
let's rather to get a little better, we can change like the basic borders, that not the ones highlighting the focus, but just the basic ones. I don't think they are particularly nice. So I'm just going to remove that border none, and also remove all of the border radius. There's no point having that, and especially not different radius on the two. Okay, so we're moving along. Let's add some padding inside this button as well, because we need that. Adding like 6 pixels on the top and bottom and 12 pixels on the left and right. So now we're like onto something, but it's not particularly Ferrari-ish. Or would you say that? Is this
I mean, I could agree with that, no problem.
Yeah, don't think of Ferrari when you see this.
I think of Windows 95 when I see this.
Yes. Okay, so let's actually here's what to make it easier. Like instead of now we don't have to look for colors because we know it'll be about Ferrari. So let's just search for this Ferrari palette. Ferrari colors. That's of course what we want to have. So found these here. Here they are. I think the red.
Someone's done, like, it even has the hex code beneath each color. That's what is that? Scheme color. Maybe they have other color schemes people can use in their apps.
Yeah, I believe so. I've used some of these, and I think it's really nice. Just like picking. Yeah, never decide colors on your own. Just pick from a font, like palette, and start there. That's my 100%. Core tip for.
I've never heard of scheme color, but there's Adobe Cooler. There's one called LOL colors as well, which is a bit more playful. Totally agree. Yeah.
All right, so let's pick the red. I feel that's like the most Ferrari-ish color there is, and paste it in here. Still looks horrible. This thing, but. What I think we need now is, of course, to see the background is awful. So we could try like with one of the Ferrari colors, for example, the green, and see if that makes the background any better. But
let's see.
But actually, it's still like, this is so hard to read. They clash, these two colors. But again, like what I think is would be cool here, since it's about Ferraris, let's just add a Ferrari image on the background. That will make it feel like Ferrari for sure. Yeah, so let's actually have cheated a little bit and downloaded a Ferrari image.
No.
True story.
Hey, Per, while you pull that image in, I think, guys, if you're watching and you have questions, I think it'll be difficult for us to kind of pause and answer them right now. But if you think about your question, and remember, questions specific to the challenge solution right now would be best. We can definitely take a minute to answer those once we finish solving the challenge. So yeah, sorry, Per, carry on.
Yeah, no, totally. The more the merrier of questions. So yeah, here we'll just, instead of the background, we'll use, or background color, we'll just use a path to this Ferrari image. So just do Ferrari.jpg like that. Now the image becomes, you can see it doesn't really match with the screen.
No.
And it
it's
repeats.
Almost like you always want the Ferrari to be visible, right? Like,
yeah. So one thing we could do is you could do the background size and say that it should cover the element. So now it covers the body element. However, the body element is now, the width of it is just decided by the browser, and the height of it is decided by the aspect ratio, like the aspect ratio of the image. Okay. So what we can rather do, if we set the body height specifically to be the entire browser, the image will follow. So what we can do here is we can do 100 viewport height like that, and now we have like something which works on a lot of different screens.
That's a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah. I think now it makes sense to, this button here is really, it's really, you can hardly see it. We need some color.
Background. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of a color should we pick?
I mean, whatever we pick, I feel like, and this is something that I picked up on when you started this solution, is before you jumped into the UI components, you started thinking a little bit about the copy, the micro copy, which is definitely part of the design, not just the colors, not just the layout, but the copy makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Likewise, when we're designing a nice looking form, we have to remember its intention, the purpose. The purpose of this form is to make as many people who see it convert as possible. And I think the obvious way to accomplish that is to make the button as prominent as possible, make it obvious it's the button you're meant to click. And so whichever colors we choose, I think they should be prominent and have nice contrast. Yeah. Yeah,
I think this yellow, it's probably yellow or green. Let me just zoom out again. Yeah, so here we'll choose the yellow then and just get it in here. Yes, that's better.
No lack of contrast there. That's like a bumblebee.
Yeah. But I feel the font is really boring. So what I did here was that I actually Googled race car font, very random. But I actually, yes, I found something. I think it was a Google Fonts, Racing Sans. I mean, yeah, it feels really like a Indy 500 or something. It's,
like a rally logo or something.
So we'll just choose this one, choose the embed link. Thank God for Google Fonts.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I think when I started coding, and probably you too, Per, like all I've ever known is Google Fonts. Yes. But I've heard from people who came before me how before Google Fonts, there was like no easy way to add fonts to your apps. Like it was such a headache. I'm glad to have never experienced that.
Totally.
Just to jump in real quick, and yeah, guys, we haven't announced the winners yet of the challenge. We're just running through the solution. After this, I think we'll go through some of the submissions. We've narrowed down, I think, was it 6 or 7, like a shortlist of potential winners per?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. And from that, we'll pick the 3 winners. That's 2 runners up who will win a $25 Amazon gift card plus 1 month free Scrimba for them and a friend, as well as the main winner who can win 2 books to help them on their developer career path, and $50 Amazon gift card, and also 1 month free Scrimba for the winner and their friend.
Yes, just to visualize that, here we have it. You've read this one, haven't you?
Yeah, I've read the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide. I'm a big fan of John Somers. His advice helped me a lot when I was learning how to code and get a job. The Pragmatic Programmer I've not read, but I understand it's like a very old book, is it not? Like, is it still?
Yeah, it's a classic from like 1999, and it's like one of the top programming books over the last 20 years. And now it has a 20th anniversary edition, so that's why we wanted to honor that one and awesome. Give it out. So yeah, let's just run through this and then get to the competition. I feel we don't need to dwell too much into this, but let's polish it up a bit more. One problem is I think this should be more semantically correct if this is an H1 and not an H3, since it's basically the title of the page. So it becomes a bit bigger as well. And with this new font, I feel maybe we can do the letter spacing slightly better. Like just one pixel will make it like you see without. It's a bit cramped. I think 2 is a bit much. Like 1 is, yeah, feels good. The button aren't getting, or the button in the input isn't getting the same font, which is a bit annoying.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that has to do with like basic how browsers style these automatically, like the default styling browsers load themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, can you illustrate it maybe? If you right-click the button and click Inspect Elements.
Yeah.
And zoom in on the Elements tab.
Yeah. There we have
zoom
it.
Right. If you can, I think you can press Command plus to zoom in the.
Yeah. Sorry. Get that. Plus, and we want the button. Yeah, here we see the styling down in the bottom right corner.
Yeah, exactly. So you see right here at the top. Sorry, Per. You can see the yellow background color. And maybe scroll up a little bit, sorry.
There, I think it's setting, yeah, sorry, there, yeah.
Yeah, so this is like Per styling right here. Like he set the background to yellow. That makes total sense. That says it's coming from index.html because it's coming from Scrimba, right? Yeah. But if you scroll down a little bit, you can see some other CSS that Per did not write that sets the font to a sans serif font. And it also is attributed to index.html. But what's happening here is this is the browser's default style. The browser has like a default, and every like Chrome, Firefox, they all have one. They're slightly different, but basically the same. And this is why if you create a HTML file with like a heading and a paragraph text, well, the heading's going to be big and bold, right? It's going to have a big font size. The paragraph's going to be smaller, and it's going to have a bit of margin beneath it typically. So the browser gives you some very like basic semantic CSS that would make sense in any app. But the problem happens when you try and write custom CSS on top of that. Sometimes you kind of butt heads and are battling. Typically, in like a project that you write in VS Code or you start from scratch, you pull in something called a reset.css file, and this overrides all of the browser's styles. And you say to the browser, hey, we see there's a place for these styles, but we don't want them. They're just going to interfere. And that reset.css style replaces them. The upside of that is that if for some reason your CSS doesn't load, and the page kind of breaks, it should still ideally be readable. People should still be able to read it. And so an alternative is something called a normalize.css file, which still preserves some of the basic style for default elements like headings and buttons and that kind of thing, but normalizes the padding and the spacing so they're easier to work with. In this case, I think it's probably okay, Per, if you just override it manually.
Yeah, let's just move it. Yeah, we can see in the input, and on the button right there. Yes, that'll suddenly a lot better.
Nice, I like that.
now that we're in the spirit of hacking things together, one thing I think think is nice when you kind of have like images and colors, and the colors on the image and on the elements themselves don't necessarily match that well up. They're most likely a little bit, unless you've based the colors on the image, they're most like a little bit of a mismatch. But a quick fix here could be to just add, for example, a little bit of an opacity. So for example, 0.8 in opacity. You can see it. It kind of shines a little bit through.
Softens it a little bit.
Do that.
I think it works well in this case because the background image has got quite a high contrast, I guess. It looks a bit washed. And now the button just doesn't quite look as stark.
Yeah. So we can do more here, of course. I think maybe with this white here, might want to just use, let's try just background none on this one, and rather have a border bottom of 1 pixel solid white. Maybe that'd be cool, and also have like the color of this one to be white. It's like add like that. It looks a bit cooler. Maybe text align at center like that. That looks a bit, yeah. I think that's a bit better.
Can you zoom in the kind of like yeah, like that?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Bit weird with this outline, but we're not touching the accessibility stuff right now. So that I feel we were now closing up to 40 minutes. So probably just keep the pace and not. I have some other thoughts on how we can improve this, but maybe just keep the speed going and get to the winners.
So maybe we can like ask the chat. Like I think there's two directions we can go now. We can look at the JavaScript and we can do some basic input validation. Yeah, I think that would be interesting per myself. But let's hear from the chat, or we can go straight to announce the winners. And move on with the other remaining exciting things we have planned for the stream. So yeah, maybe let us know in the chat what you're thinking. You can simply write solution if you want us to keep working on the solution, or just write winners if you want to move on and see the winners and some of the remaining prizes, or remaining submissions, sorry. And we'll announce the prizes shortly after. The only thing I think would be cool, Per, is like, I know we looked a little bit at HTML validation attributes, and I know that some of the submissions use them, others not. Maybe just for 60, 90 seconds, you could tell us a bit about that while people reply. That's
a good point, because some of the submissions rightfully identify that text isn't the type attribute you want to use here, because text kind of accepts any text here. But if you do email, then HTML5 and the browsers will help you a little bit along the way, because there you can try to submit the form. You can see, boom, you get this, please include an @ and email address. So that's the browser giving you some help, or HTML5 giving you some help with this type email. And actually also, since you have to add an email to this one as well, in order for the form to make any sense, you can also write, required like that. And you can see if you try to submit it without, please fill this field. I think we also have a placeholder here actually, to make make it clear for people what they are to do. Like that.
You write something friendly, like your email, please, or your email here. I like to write your best email because, you know, people have lots of different emails. I want the best one.
Yeah, I like it. Again, the micro copy, like that's a very good point. Thinking about the small details can really make a big difference.
Hey, I've got two things to tell you, Per. The first is that I think that overwhelmingly people want us to keep looking at the solutions. There's the solution. Maybe 70 solution, 30 winners. I'm sorry, guys, it's not an exact science that we're applying here. But also design course just joined the chat. So I think it's worth saying hello.
Awesome. Hey, Gary. I learned all of my UI and designs from you, from your course on Scrimba. And it's a bit nerve-wracking that you're watching here. Please don't judge us too harshly.
Well, if we struggle, you can help us, Gary.
Yeah. All right, so let's just move on to the JavaScript then, since we're already on like the form validation.
Mm-hmm.
So here is the basic setup for the JavaScript. This was a stretch goal, so you didn't have to do it. And we fetched out a reference to the email and the form for you by basically get element by ID. You can see the IDs in the HTML here. And just setting up a basic event listener for submitting so that when you submit your email, like that, we basically just log out the email. So here it actually doesn't make that much sense to care too much about the form validation, since we've already, that should get given us an error. Oh, that's a good point then. I was able to submit an email which I don't think was an email. So anyway, point being, you want to be careful and you want to validate on multiple stages. Like, it makes sense to validate both in the client and on the server. And this would look pretty much like how it would look in Express as well, how we'd validate there. So let's just do it here as well, in case someone are able to submit an email which got through the HTML5 validation.
Yeah, because I think the thing about email addresses is that, like, we all know what an email address looks like, right? It's like a name, a username, an @ symbol, then a domain, and that's typical. But you know, email's been around for many decades now, and over the decades, different specifications have evolved to the point where there's lots of kind of weird edge cases for what makes a valid email. At one point, you could have probably written a validator, which is like the email must end in .com or .co.uk. But then, like, my domain is booker.codes, and a lot of input validators tell me I haven't got a valid domain. When I do, there's a lot of new TLDs. And I don't know what the browser's using. I don't know what the HTML5 attribute is. I think it's just a basic one. Yeah. There's definitely some edge cases we can try and catch with something else, but what should that thing be? Like, how do we do it? Yeah,
so what a lot of people do, email validation JavaScript. That is a query people search for, email validation in JavaScript like that. That is a query which has a actually famous reply on Stack Overflow and written in 2008, and hasn't it been updated? Isn't that the point with it?
I mean, come on, this answer is how old? 5, 6, 7? Wait, so
no, it's 12 years. It's 12 years
12 years old. And how many updates does this answer have? Because
5,000 here.
No, but how many updates? Like, how many times has
it been
updates.
Edited? Where would I see that? At the bottom here.
22 revisions.
23 revisions. Yeah.
So it's evolved a lot over the years, to the point where this regex is gnarly. And you know, regex, it's, you know, maybe this is worth explaining, Per. What do you think?
Yeah. Go for it. I'm not an expert at regex, to be honest, but it makes sense to talk a little bit about it.
The thing about regex is that you're going to find it in any programming language that you use, more or less. You can even find it in things like Google Sheets. And it's a technology for basically pattern matching. And maybe the best way to understand it, and one way it's commonly used, is when scraping web pages. Like, if you wanted to code a bot that extracts specific data from a page, you could maybe write a regex pattern that describes the type of data you're looking for. Maybe it's some text with a specific format between certain elements, this kind of thing. But more broadly, regex can be used to pattern match an input. And if the match is successful, then you know that the input is valid. You can validate the input that way. If it doesn't find a match, then it couldn't possibly be a valid input. And so what you're looking at here, and if you think, and I don't want you to get the idea that regex has to be very intimidating or difficult. This regex is insane. It's absolutely nuts. It just accounts for so many different edge cases that it's become popular and commonly used. But people who use it only copy and paste it, I can promise you that. And I don't understand this regex. I don't even want to try. It's using some pretty advanced features. But what happens here is you pass an email to this regex, and if it pattern matches and it matches the format, then good, you've got a valid email. If it doesn't, then you don't. Simple as that.
We have an introduction to regex course on Scrimba, a free course created with free code camps. You can check that out if this long, intimidating line gives you kind of sparks your interest.
Definitely. Maybe we can post a link to that in the chat as well, because
Totally.
I don't know if we're exciting people about regex or scaring them with this.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's a good tool to have in your arsenal, 100%.
So here we'll just basically copy paste from Stack Overflow and use this validate email function. And just here we have the email value, which we've fetched out from the reference to the DOM node right here. And we'll just do if validate email, pass in the email. So if that evaluates to true, we'll run this code right here, set up the entire thing. If not, then we'll just console log like not a valid email. And yeah, let's actually just try it and run through it and see if we kind of have the full skeleton in place. Valid email like that. And the code, right, adding the email. Ooh, not a valid email. What did I do? What mistake did I do here? Can you spot it? That should be a valid email. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try logging out here. Or where did I mess up?
We can definitely debug this. I mean, we can work through it gradually.
Yeah, yeah.
And then hopefully it'll give people watching a chance to see how we can approach an issue like this. I can't see the issue, obviously. Like, it's not obvious to me what the problem is.
No, yeah.
Did you pass email.value or
no?
Pass email?
I passed validate email.
Oh, well, there we go. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Gary will be proud.
Let's see. We can remove this, run this. Probably
and
10 people in the stream spotted it.
This is what I love about live streaming is at least a few people have mentioned, Crazy Mad mentioned, Max mentioned, and possibly someone else as well. Good to know. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Try again. Yes, valid email. Okay, so at this point, what should we do? What I like to do in forms is to remove any ambiguity as to whether people have done the correct action and if they have completed. I think it makes sense to actually remove the entire form when it's submitted. I really like when I see that as well. So that's what I want to do in this case right here. So then we'll actually need a reference to the button as well. So I'm just going to do that. The button, it would need an ID actually. So submit button like that. And we'll just be lazy, copy paste here and button submit button like that. And just simply take the email in the button form and hide it. Like button dot style. We'll just head into its style and just do it the plain old easy way of setting the display to none, like that.
Just to be clear, like, and this when I was learning to code, I distinctly remember this. Like, my intuition was that there should probably be a function like hide, like button.hide, button.show. Or maybe like it was a property, button.visible equals false. But the way you do this in JavaScript and what this style property represents is the CSS style. Like that is the CSS display property. So to hide it, you set it to none. And then to show it again, you set it to block in this case, because that would be the default value, I think. That's a little something that can catch people out.
Yeah, it's like, I remember back in the days when people were using jQuery was very often like button.hide, which you said like that instead.
That's actually true. Yeah. Wow. Hey, is jQuery still popular? Like, to be honest,
we've considered creating courses on it on Scrimba, but never seen that much enthusiasm about it in the community, to be honest. But there's probably tons of legacy pages using it, so it might make sense in some areas to actually learn it.
Yeah, I think jQuery comes from a time where the browsers weren't quite modern enough yet. Nowadays, the browsers have so many great features built in. JavaScript's come along. I think it's not as necessary, but it's still be helpful. Yeah, cool.
So let's try it. Submit email. Boom, it's gone. Now, of course, it's very bad. This is not a bad user experience, just disappearing as if something wrong happened. But let's just add an MTP tag right here. We can call it, for example, help text or something. and we'll take that, create a reference to it. Help text, just do like help text like that. And we do here, we want to show it actually. So we're going to do the opposite. Or no, actually we don't need, we could either show it, we could add the text here in the HTML and hide it by default and then just show it, or we could populate the text. Actually, it's probably more lightweight action to just hide or switch a property in the CSS than to actually populate the paragraph. What do you think?
I'll tell you why I agree and why I like that idea. And it's for a similar reason why I like input type email. Okay, so input type email, it helps with validation. But remember, like HTML is a markup language. It's meant to describe the page. And when you add little details like saying, hey, this input is for an email, you drastically improve the readability of your HTML. And I also want to be consistent, right? Like if I'm learning your code, and granted it's a small project, but we want to take these principles from basic challenges to real applications, you know, I think it's really helpful for me to read the error text in the HTML, and I kind of get an idea then that it might be hidden. And the reason why this is good as well is because now we're putting all of the content in one place. Imagine you try and revamp the copy later. Maybe Ferrari do a rebrand and they want to use different language. Well, now they can edit it all in the same place in the index of the HTML file. Whereas if you hide it in some JavaScript code, it might go forgotten. And I think so yeah, I think we should put the text in the paragraph tag. Keep it hidden. I totally agree. Then show it.
Yes. Let's say. Thank you. Yeah, please. Please verify your email, or please check your email. So that's good because we want an email like validation, right? So we want to tell them that if we want to like send a follow-up email to thank them for joining it and have them actually confirm their email, we want to tell them to do that. Yeah. So obviously this needs to be styled more differently. We'll head down here and we'll do the help text. Help text like that.
So this is like a newsletter, right? So like, I don't think we can do it now, but maybe a good idea would be like after you submit the form, it shows you like an option to share the newsletter on social media or something like that.
Totally.
Because I think when someone's motivated enough to fill in a form, they're probably motivated enough to do a little bit extra, like follow on social media or something. So if you have someone who's excited about your project, you want to make the most of that, I think.
Totally. Now just to wrap it up, we need to hide it, set it to display none. So that's kind of the opposite of how the other elements here are. And what we do there in the JavaScript is almost the same thing. We'll do help text, style display, but now we flip it back, to display block, right? Yeah. That's a bit.
I think it's so confusing. It's like the opposite of none is not block.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But that's the way it works.
Okay. Yes, there we go.
Good job. It's nice.
Okay. Should we leave it there then and jump over to the winners and check in some others?
You know what? I think you're right. I think we should firstly look at some of the shortlisted submissions. I want to check them out, see what they're all about, maybe talk about them a little bit. And then from there, we can narrow it down to our 3 winners competing for the prizes you see on the screen right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we got there?
All right. So first of all, we got over like close to 100 submissions.
Really?
So
seriously?
Yeah. Over almost 100 people shared on Twitter and in Discord. So and we can only pick 3 winners, or 1 winner and 2 runner-ups. So please don't feel bad if you didn't make it. Winning this competition is statistically harder than coming into or like be accepted at Harvard. I think that's 1.5% chance of being accepted at Harvard. So it's 1% chance of winning here. So don't feel bad.
You heard it here first, guys. Scrimba, Harvard, basically the same
thing. Totally. So don't feel bad, but now we're going to pick out like six of the ones we want to give extra attention, and then pick out the three contesters that gets a prize. So let's just start. So
are we going to shout out the names of the people who submitted these, or are we going to just focus on the submissions?
Totally, I think it makes sense to give all of them some credit. So this is
Sure.
Kaustrup.
And if you hear your name and you're in the chat, please write in like big caps so we know you're here. It's not going to impact your ability to win. It will have no bearing on that whatsoever.
It's already
super
decided.
Cool to know that you're here. So yeah.
This is Kaustrup, if I'm saying the name correctly. But I think the form is really neat with this nice gradient in the background. It's very consistent.
Zoom in a little bit, please, Per?
Yeah, sure. It's very consistent with the borders, very soft, pleasant design. A little emoji, I like that. And the neatest part is this animation here. Check it out. Subscribe.
That's sweet. It's pretty nice.
Super neat.
Is that using like a CSS animation or something? Like, how does that work?
To be honest, I haven't dug into exactly how that animation works. But we can actually share.
Can you see that in the background? Like, I recognize that regex pattern for sure.
Nice.
we told you it was commonly used.
Yes, that's good. So we can share the links to these if the winners are pleased with it, so that everyone are comfortable with it. You can share that in the chat. And actually, they're already shared on Twitter, so of course they're comfortable with that. So that would be great if Leanne, you can do that and just share it, and so that people can check them out, investigate the code for themselves. That's a great one. Another one, this one right here, Jean Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's zoom in. I think this one used as color really nicely. You can see it's like palette, a consistent palette. And this here, I think it's not full black. It's like a little bit lighter, and with this orange and beige.
I'll tell you what I think. Like, if I saw that on a website, I wouldn't think twice. I'd think, yeah, professional looking form. I want to fill that in. So I think that's a great test.
Totally.
And I don't think we gave any guidance on this, but at the bottom it says we'll never store your information without your permission. Again, this is the microcopy part I was talking about. Like, it's a little nudge in the right direction. You know, someone might be anxious. I want to be marketed and receive spam. But, you know, reassuring the person can calm that anxiety and increase the conversion rate of the form, which is the objective, I would say. Really nice.
Totally. Okay, next one. This one is neat.
I'm so pumped, by the way. Like, every time we're showing a submission, the chat is nothing but positive. Great, lovely comments about the submissions. I'm glad you're all enjoying them. And of course, you can check out the code. And some people are realizing that they're feeling inspired, I would say, realizing that there's a lot more to learn about CSS. But the good news is you can jump into these exact scrims, these exact submissions, and learn. So
yeah,
just a weekly web dev hashtag on Twitter.
Okay, so here's a new one from Tom.
Hey, Thomas is in the chat. He says, that's
really?
Mine.
Nice.
Thomas C.
So Tom, what we really love here is this, the thoughtfulness you've put into this. When you refresh this, you can see it animates in. So it just captures your attention. And here, I think it's a unique design, very cool, like inspiring copy.
Mm-hmm. I want to be more awesome.
Yeah, totally. Need to get this newsletter. Let's get it. Yeah, and these are nice, like bullet points. To why, like address last minute hesitation. Hit that one, and ooh, this is cool. So every other time, like half of the submissions end up with an error page. And
so wait, just to be clear, like it's a 50-50 thing, just to demonstrate what the error could look like. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I like about that is it shows that Tom has been thoughtful as to the fact that bugs always happen, mistakes always happen. So you have to think about how your error pages look as well.
Yeah, I mean, was it Twitter that was offline yesterday? Like, even the biggest websites have problems.
Yeah, and we all remember the Twitter whale. They had this whale when they were down back in the days. Maybe they have it still. But like thoughtfulness around that page is really good. So let's just submit it again so we can see the. Yes, that's nice. I really like this.
Well, this is what I was talking about 5 minutes ago. This is perfect. Like whenever you submit the form, you have an option to follow the account on other social media accounts. That's nice. The only feedback I would give about this is that like the Instagram logo is blue, and whenever you're designing, and you need to be careful about this, like you always need to respect companies' brand guidelines. Every company has them. Sometimes it's like Instagram.com/brand. Sometimes it's a bit harder to find. Besides, people come to recognize the company by their colors, and so minor comment, but maybe that could be different.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is legal as well according to their guidelines with the hover effect of the changing the. But anyway, I think it's great. It shows the just right mindset of utilizing the fact that the user has been active at this point. They've shared their email. They're probably in the mood for following the company on some other social media as well. And again, with a micro copy, just showing some human touch. Brilliant.
Cool. Great job. Who's next?
Okay, this one. So this is Ceci or Cici. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this one's super neat. Like
That's cool.
Instantly.
That's calming. I feel calm. I feel like I want to fill that in.
Yeah. And with this small, you instantly see that there's something playful going around on here. And what's cool as well is when you click that, it changes. It's almost like being at a show, like feel like carousel. It's like a carousel or a clown, or I really like the playfulness here.
Nice.
And with this little animation of color and the line.
I'm kind of wondering what that animation's about. Like it's kind of I don't think I've seen anything like that before, but it makes me think of like when you submit the form, it's like the email traveling over the network. It's like, oh, the email is on its way to you. So maybe that's the start of a nice idea, but after you click the button rather than during the animation. But yeah, animation wise, I like the little newsletter coloring effect that's happening right now. I want to be looking at it. It's mesmerizing almost. Yeah,
it's like I want to see this newsletter. It's probably a fun newsletter to be in. So it's totally
vibes.
Okay.
I think, by the way, just to go back to the previous submission, I think whoever submitted this deserves credit. If like how are those images placed, like the square and the circle and the triangle and stuff? Like, I'm not even sure how I would do that actually.
No. Let's see. So it looks like there's some. Let's see if they are here in triangle, circle, square.
Oh, so they're probably, is it using a background image property or is it drawn somehow?
Probably setting it in.
CSS, right? So it's just a square. It's a solid image using CSS transforms. That's pretty creative.
No, it's actually created. I think it's not an image. Is it? It's just CSS, plain CSS. I think. Because it's just empty divs and creating the shapes using CSS. That's super neat. Like using the thick borders to create the forms, basically.
Very good. I like that.
Nice.
Good job, CC.
Okay, Octavio. So what I liked about this one is basically the use of image, because I think images.
What is that? Is that a canal in Amsterdam or something?
Yeah, looks like that. Could it be London with the canals?
That looks like Amsterdam to me.
Gotcha.
Well, it's Octavio. Maybe Octavio's in the chat and can tell us, but otherwise, anyway.
So I think this just and the background has like it has this filter.
It is. Sorry, just to interrupt you. Cecilia, who I'm assuming is the same CC that submitted her solution previously. And then Hello World, who I remember from the very beginning of the stream.
Yes.
For the positive energy, I like it. This is his Hello World. What's the background image? Can you let us know? Meanwhile, sorry.
Oh, no worries. I just like the using images. it gives a certain feeling to it. It gives you so much for free when you're designing UIs, in my opinion. Just have good images, and you don't need to worry too much about everything else. You don't need to do anything clever. It kind of saves you. And it has this little nice animations as well on the social icons there as well. That's cool.
I like it. What's the animation about? Like, is the form kind of moving? Like, how does it move? Is it random or is it?
Yeah, it moves. I think it moves slightly upwards, and you can see it gets the shadow. So yeah, probably.
Hello world. I think it's a good. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Like, if the form vibrates a little bit, draws focus. I like that. The only thing I'm concerned about is like the UX. Like, if I click on the text input at the same second the form moves, I might click a button by mistake, and that's just not good. But so a fun challenge might be to turn the animation off once the cursor is within the bounds of the white rectangle. Great job.
That's a good point. And also maybe it could be slightly less. It could be a slightly subtle animation, and it's moving like maybe 20 pixels or something. Maybe 5 would have been enough just to get that feeling.
And Hello World just confirmed that is Amsterdam. So
okay.
I feel accomplished.
Nice.
I'm the real winner here.
Yeah, you should get the prizes.
I'm teasing. The real winner will be announced shortly. I think this is the last submission we're looking at.
Yes, it is. So this one is pretty neat. What I like about this one, it's like it has a very consistent style with the colors, the background, and this little box here, and also this cool animation here, which kind of the button grows, and when you click it, it gets this little border. Removes a little bit of the color. I think that was clever. So good job by Jason there. So that was it. That was the finalist. Should we take the winners?
Just passing the chat. I just love the positivity in the chat right now. Keep it up, guys. Thank you. And awesome. Talking about positive vibes, I think it's about time we move on to announce the winners. And so here's how it's going to work. We're going to start by announcing the 2 runners-up. Maybe Per, you can show us in the slides, but to be clear, the 2 runners-up are competing to win, and there will be 2 in total, sorry, they're not competing against one another. The 2 runners-up will win a $25 Amazon gift card and 1 month free Scrimba membership for themselves and a friend who is not already subscribed. We'll announce the main winner shortly after. So this is up to you, Per. Like, I'm happy to give my input, but this is totally your decision.
So the first runner-up is Kaustrup.
Okay.
So I think basically this animation here, removing the input field, removing all ambiguity, nicely saying subscribe and enlarging this button. Just that's it. Kaustrup, we're sold.
Yeah,
$25
awesome.
And a gift card for you and a friend.
100%. Can we give a Kaustrup a round of applause in the chat? So sorry if I'm butchering your name. I really truly am. but yes, what we'll do is we'll reply to your tweet with more information about how to claim your prize, and we'll get in touch directly and take it from there. So yeah, congratulations. Who's the second runner-up going to be, Per?
So the second runner-up is Tom.
Tom, right.
Congrats, Tom.
Awesome, and Tom is live in the chat, actually. So,
yes.
Tom, congratulations, pal. Once again, we'll
really good job.
And please, if Tom's in the chat, let's be extra diligent about giving him a round of applause in the chat, please. Bring those emojis out if you can. Lots of clapping and thumbs up, that good stuff. So Tom will reply, Scrimba will reply to your tweets with more information about how to claim your $25 gift card and free membership for you, free 1 month membership for you and a friend. Great job, congrats. I'm so glad Tom's in the chat.
Yes.
You know, like this has no bearing on how we pick the winners, whether the person is in the chat or not, but coincidentally Tom is, and it's great to have you here. Congrats again.
Great job, great job. All right. Then it's time for the winner.
You're right. Yeah, that's it. This is down to the main winner. Do you want to recap quickly what the main winner is going to win, Per?
Yes.
This is a big category thing. This is something we thought would help you with your coding journey. You know, you can spend the $50 on whatever you like, but it could also help you with your coding journey. So Per, what we
And just so that is said, 2 physical books sent to your email address, not a PDF.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to make it work based on where you live, but we'll send the physical books definitely. So yeah,
and the winner.
We're competing for the complete software developer's guide and the pragmatic programmer. There can only be one winner. Per, who is your chosen winner?
The winner is Ceci.
Let's go, Ceci. Congratulations.
For this super inspiring form here with the playfulness and the neat animation and super nice input form and the shapes. Just so inspiring. Great job, Ceci. Is Ceci in the chat?
I think CC is in the chat, yeah. I'm not 100% sure because the username is slightly different, but I'm assuming based on Cecilia Tran's reaction, which is 5 shocked emojis, that would be the same CC. And so, in any case, wicked, congratulations, great job. We'll respond to your tweet. We'll respond to the tweet you used to submit your submission with more information about how to follow up. And we're going to celebrate you with a tweet from the Scrimba account as well. So, yeah, great job.
Great job. So, we're off to the final part then, which is something everyone here will take benefit from. So now you'll all get something. And that is, sorry, I just need to open up my slides again because I messed it up and closed it. That is the course launch, because now we're going to launch a brand new Scrimba course, which all of you get exclusive access to today. Let me just bring it up. Yeah, and this will help you with first and foremost sharpening up your JavaScript skills. And something we've talked a little bit here today is colors and the importance of colors. It's so important to have a proper grasp about how colors work and in combination with each other, and lightening and darkening and opacity and all those things. And this course helps you with exactly that. And of course, it has tons of interactive coding challenges. And let's move on to it. Here we got it. It's called Build a Color Tool in Vanilla JavaScript. And if we can get a link down there in the chat so you can check it out instantly. It's created by James Q. Quick, whom some of you might know already from Scrimba courses, from his own YouTube channel, from Twitter, from the Free Code Camp YouTube channel. He's just a super passionate and really good teacher. So we're excited to have his second course here on Scrimba. And just to give you a quick look at what you're going to build, because it's a fully, of course, project building based course. I'm going to take this down now and move into here. If we just scrub here. So this is a tool. You'll build this neat little tool in vanilla JavaScript where you can add hexadecimal colors and then choose if you want to lighten or darken them, and then choose the percentage, and it'll give you the input color and the altered color. So it's a little tool for you to play around with your colors and understand how hexadecimals and RGBA colors work, because you have to understand how those two systems for describing colors in the browser work in collaboration with each other. And you also build some of these components like this one right here, the toggle button, from the ground up. So no frameworks, just you, JavaScript, CSS, and James Quick.
Fantastic. You telling me I should use this instead of like opacity 0.9?
Yes, probably.
It's very interesting. And so if you want to watch this course, you can, I'm sure it's on the Scrimba website. If you're a member, you have access now. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll share a link to it in the chat. Please click that link and we'll come on the Scrimba website a little bit later.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah. So this is something, don't watch Netflix this weekend. Learn JavaScript better instead. And you'll be just as successful as Osea any minute.
100%.
All right.
So I think that pretty much, let me switch to the speaker view right here. I think that's pretty much it for the first Scrimba live session. I mean, we ran through a lot, from celebrating Osea to running through the solution. Hopefully you learned a little bit about not CSS resetting, how to think about microcopy, and how there's more to design than just the colors and the structure that you pick. So many other interesting bits. Thank you so much, everybody, for your submissions. Like, it's overwhelming, seriously. I think almost 100 submissions, like, it's fantastic.
Yes.
And even if you didn't win this time, you absolutely must submit a solution next week, because regardless of whether we host another competition, I think it's such a great way to switch up your learning, try new things. I think a lot of people, when they're trying to learn stuff, they think it's just about putting stuff into their brain. But the way you really learn is from trying to retrieve that information and applying it to projects. And the weekly web dev challenge is there to do exactly that for you, whilst also bringing a community element, because we can all look at each other's solutions, offer code review, that kind of thing. Yeah, CC was the top 1.5%, as you put it, Per, today. And so congratulations again. Huge congrats to the runners up as well. We'll be replying to your initial tweets. It's possible on Monday, or possibly sooner. I'm not sure, but you'll hear from us very, very soon with more information about how to claim your prize. That's all from me. Per, do you have any closing words?
I just want to thank everyone who submitted and everyone who just showed up. Please give us your feedback on what you liked about the stream, what you didn't like that much, and like for us to make future streams more interesting for you, because that's basically the point of this.
I'm so sorry, but do you know what I just remembered is we didn't go through the poll results for the course we're re-announcing. And actually, I have Leanne from my community, Leanne, our community manager, to thank for reminding us about that.
Oh my God!
To interrupt, but we should definitely.
Let's do it. We just
Leanne, maybe you could share the link to the straw poll one last time, because when we started and we shared that straw poll, there were 140 viewers, which is staggering. But now there's closer to 250, and so there might I'm not sure if you knew that, Per, to be honest. But we should definitely get a few more takes on this poll.
Here it is.
Please look out in the chat for the other link. Leanne has been shouting at us to remember. I'm so thankful for her.
Oh. All right, so unit testing is still taking the lead.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen many votes since the beginning. I think we're about 97. And
ES 2020, which we talked so much about, probably scared people off.
It's possible. There we go. The link's in the chat right now. So if you can leave your last vote. Just to be clear, in case maybe you missed the beginning of the stream or you just forgot, we're hosting a little real-time poll. So when you vote, you're going to see the poll updates in real time. So you'll see the direct consequence of your action. And we're looking to get your input on what the next Scrimba course should be, whether it should be about unit testing, which is so critical when working with a team. And there's so much to talk about there, from test-driven development to how to write unit tests that are very quick and don't take a long time to run. You could possibly learn about building apps with React and TypeScript. TypeScript brings more safety to your applications, not security, as in like passwords or encryption and stuff, but it makes your code more robust in such a way that it's harder to break things. And if it compiles almost in your editor, it's more likely to work at first time. 2020 is a crazy, crazy year. I think we'll all agree. And so we're looking to create a guide to becoming a front-end developer in 2020. This means navigating the landscape. How do you pick which framework to choose, right? React, Angular, anything in between? Do you use TypeScript or not? So many questions, as well as how you then go and apply those skills to earn work, whether it's freelance or employed. Advanced CSS, and of course, like we mentioned, hypermodern JavaScript, which is all about ES 2020. The latest cutting, bleeding edge JavaScript features that, let's be honest, maybe you won't use them today because they're not going to be widely supported by browsers, but you'll inevitably be using them in years to come and might want to get a jump on the curve. So yeah, cast your votes. This will be your last chance. When the stream ends, we'll take a snapshot of the vote results. So it's important that you get your votes in right away. But otherwise, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It looks like the unit testing here is it has been taking the lead from the very get-go, and
it's going to be hard to come back from that, right? Like, I don't see any videos catching up.
No, so I think we can declare the unit testing as the winner.
I'm okay with that. I mean, unit tests are great fun, honestly, and they're very important to learn. So, can people look forward to that course, Per?
so we have to get going creating this course. So we're going to find a teacher, the perfect teacher for this course. And I'm imagining this as to be super hands-on. So every cast will be a challenge where you are challenged to write a unit test. So that's so difficult to learn how to test, but with Scrimba, we can really make it interactive in that way and force you to learn it this time around. Because I know a lot of people are trying to learn testing again and again, and I did myself. I struggled a lot with it, so it'll be super hands-on. And let's get started with this finding a teacher the next week, and then hopefully we can get it out there within the next couple of months.
Awesome, sounds fantastic. So you heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, one more little announcement to make that actually. Please continue following this weekly Web Dev Challenge. We'll share the link to the weekly Web Dev Challenge form in the chat as well and in the description of this video. And the next challenge will actually be Cassidy Williams, who'll create. Who you probably know from Cassie Do on Twitter. She has the funny TikTok videos and all memes around coding and some amazing courses on Scrimba. So we're super excited about that.
Knowledge of React, and I think she created a reusable React course for Scrimba already. And so maybe there'll be some synergies there. I've seen a few people in the chat talking about how React is something they're interested in. So yeah, please look forward to that.
Totally.
Do you mind stopping your screen share and then we'll
sure.
Yeah, it's sad, it's regrettable. I can't believe it's been can you believe it's been an hour and 22 minutes, Per? Like it's been a quick
super quick
minutes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who has come. That's fantastic.
100%. Any closing words?
Have a great weekend, basically.
Absolutely. Crack on with the course.
Yes, do that.
Guys, until next time, thank you so much. I've been Alex Booker.
Cheers.
And this is Per. Goodbye.
Cheers.